Welcome back to the TD Sports Press podcast. We are live on this rare Saturday morning, but we have to go over the round of 64, Thursday, Friday. What a day of basketballs the games were, and we still got 2 more days. We are live right about an hour and a half before Michigan and St. Louis is about to tip off. Like I said, today's podcast we will be previewing the round of 32. We're going to do all 16 games, and then we're going to start off with the round of 64. Takeaways from Thursday and Friday. A lot of complaining about no Cinderellas. I don't really agree with that because there's still a possibility of a couple. I don't know why I'll understand some basketball fans if you ask me. So there's a lot of things we need to get in today, and we're going to go ahead and get started with my round of 64 takeaways on Thursday. Thursday was a great day of college basketball. We had some upsets. VCU came back from 19 against North Carolina, and they will be playing Tennessee today. VCU with a heck of a run. They did enough to win the game at the end of the year. Will North Carolina fire their head coach? Definitely could be a possibility. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of rumors whirling around about what's going to happen there. I don't want to specify about anything like that, so I'm not going to talk about it. And then we got High Point beating Wisconsin. High Point, they're a three-point shooter. Obviously, everyone knows Jackson wears number 99. Had never hit a two-point field goal till Thursday. So, and you might be asking, so that's his first point? No, every field goal he has was a three-pointer. So, has he layup to win the game? Wisconsin, they run a set for Boyd at the end of the game. It's not enough. They get blocked, and that's it for Wisconsin. So we have two great games there. Moving on, Siena gave Duke everything they wanted to handle. This was not just a 16 seed playing against a 1 seed till halftime. Siena had a lead till about 8 minutes to go in the game, and then they just faded. They played their players 40 minutes. They didn't have a single sub. Is that stupid or is that smart? You be the judge of that. But at the end of the day, if those are your 5 best players and they give you the best opportunity to win, why would you fault them for doing that? That's my personal opinion on that. Moving on, we keep going on Thursday. Nebraska, they get their first win in the NCAA tournament against a Troy team that was a lot of people picked. It was always Nebraska. I don't think it was really Nebraska was due. We'll be talking about their game later today, which could be the game of the weekend. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Moving on, we'll keep it going here. Ohio State gets beat by TCU. TCU had the lead for the majority of the game. They were up 18. Ohio State goes up 5 with 3 minutes to go. They squandered the lead. TCU, they scored there was probably 4 seconds. Ohio State calls a timeout, and I don't know why they call it timeout because they just threw the ball backwards to Thornton, and he chucked up a 3/4 score shot, and it wasn't even close. So TCU and Duke, we'll be talking about that game a little bit later today. Should be a great game. Moving on to that bottom quadrant in the South. The South. Houston beats Idaho. Nothing really to write home. Houston just dominated. Texas A&M beats St. Mary's. Nothing to write home. Again, I told you St. Mary's was the most overrated 7 seed in the history of 7 seeds, and they got beat by 20. So I wasn't surprised. St. Mary's had zero business being a 7 seed. We'll talk about that. But Texas A&M Houston battled Texas. So we'll be talking about that game a little bit later in the podcast. Moving on, we are at Michigan. They did take care of business of who did they play? Prairie View, or no, it wasn't Prairie View. They played Howard. The Howard Bison. They beat the Howard Bison by 2, or they were up 4 at halftime, and then they kind of taken control in the second half. Moving on, St. Louis beats Georgia, and beating them is an understatement. St. Louis scored 102 points. So much for the SEC being the toughest conference in basketball. Absolutely not. I don't know why Georgia was an 8 seed. They shouldn't have been in the tournament. Moving on. What else? Thursday am I missing? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Thursday, Texas beats BYU. That's 11-6. And then Gonzaga beats Kennesaw State. So Texas is going to be going for the 3rd win in 5 days today when they play Gonzaga in Portland, Oregon. That's going to be a great game. Arkansas beats Hawaii. It wasn't even really close. We get Arkansas High Point tonight. Sign me up for that game. That should be a great game. We'll be talking about going through that game. Can High Point go to the Sweet 16? Might save the tournament, according to some people. Excuse me. Moving on. Let's talk about that's about all for Thursday. Sorry, there's a lot going on. We got to get going with these previews. Round of 64 preview here. Oh, whoops, that did not help anything. Round of 64 takeaways on Friday. We got to start off in the morning with the game of the weekend so far, I would say. Kentucky beat Santa Clara in dramatic fashion. Santa Clara came ready to play. They looked like they were going to win. They hit it 3 with 2 seconds to go. Kentucky goes the length of the court, hits basically a half-court shot, banks it in, goes in overtime, and beats the Santa Clara team. There's been a lot of controversy online that Santa Clara didn't get their timeout. Look, I'm a mid-major guy. If you're going to call a timeout with 2 seconds after your guy just goes up 3, you need to go to the official on the baseline. Going to the official on the top of the key that is running and racing and getting their butt down the court, you will never get that timeout unless you call the timeout while he's shooting it. So for all the people saying, oh, they need to go back and review that, the coach has zero knowledge. You go to the baseline official and you call it to him because he's in control. He's making sure that, they don't call a timeout when they inbound the ball. So everyone crying about that doesn't know ball. It's pretty simple. I don't know, oh, they call a timeout. Well, he needs to go to the correct official. Because imagine you being the official on the top. You're racing to get down the court because you are now the elite official. You need to go find the trail official, right, as soon as he makes that. So the lead that was the lead becomes the trail, and then the trail becomes the lead going the other way. So, yes, I do officiate basketball. So it's kind of funny when people say, oh, they should have granted the timeout. Go to the correct official, and it won't happen. Pretty simple. Moving on. Let's go talk about more about Friday's action. Not a lot of upsets. Well, there wasn't any upsets. If you want to go seeding, Utah State was the 9 seed. They beat Villanova. Utah State was not a 9 seed, and they showed that against a Villanova team. And, yes, it was close to about 4 minutes to go. Then Utah State, and more specifically MJ Collins, took over the game. And they will now be playing Arizona because the committee does not know how to seed teams. So we'll be talking about Zota, Utah State. Does Utah State have any shot? We'll be talking about that. And then, Miami beats Missouri. Missouri should have been the first 4 in. Then they proved that. They couldn't do anything against Miami. They never had the lead, I don't think. Oh, actually, I think they went up by 2, and then Miami went on like a 14-0 run or something like that with like 10 minutes to go. So I guess they did have the lead for about 2 minutes. Moving on, what else? Nothing major. All the top seeds won. Nothing to write home to about. Utah State Villanova was probably the best game yesterday. Santa Clara, Kentucky, Utah State, and Villanova. So with that being said, we'll just get into the round of 32 previews. We'll be previewing all 16 games. Let's talk about the first game that's going to get going here in about 30 minutes here. Is Michigan on upset alert against a St. Louis team that beat the brakes off Georgia? Michigan is obviously, they don't have one of their best guard. He got hurt. He will not be in the NCAA tournament. And you have a St. Louis team that is an upstart team that we talked about it. So who's going, let's talk a little bit of preview. St. Louis, if they win this game, they need to be able to hit the 3. Michigan, they have more presence inside than Georgia does. The Michigan big guy should feast today against the St. Louis. It would be awesome if St. Louis won. I'm a big mid-major guy. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I think Michigan is not on upset alert. I think that Michigan has too much inside presence. But if the Michigan shoots under 10% from 3, and it has happened, I want to specify it has happened. So we will. I don't see it I don't see it happening, I would say. So give me Michigan. I think they'll beat St. Louis. I don't think they'll have any struggles with St. Louis. But if St. Louis wins, I would be ecstatic. So it would be absolutely amazing if that happened. And then the game, this could be a game of the weekend. We have Michigan State in Louisville also at this is going to be a great game. Michigan State, they beat USF the first game or the first round. I messed it up. Michigan State beat North Dakota State. Louisville beat USF. Louisville is a team that doesn't have their best player. Michigan State, they are trying to make a run after getting beat by UCLA in round 1 of the Big Ten tournament. Louisville is a very interesting team. You just never know what team's going to show up. Conwell's going to have a huge game for Louisville in order to win this game. Michigan State, on the other hand, they just need to play average, and I think they win this game. I don't think they do anything outside their ability. They're a great team. They just need to control And they should win this game. They should win this game, go to the Sweet 16. I'm picking Michigan State to win this game. I don't see Louisville. They don't have the presence. I think Fears is going to have a good game. He's average. I think he's going to have 10 assists. He's leading the nation in assists. I think he's averaging like 9.5 a game right now. I think that Michigan State will win this game, and they're going to keep dancing. They are a team to watch out for in the Duke region. And we're going to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about all the games. So I think Michigan State's going to win this one. Moving on, speaking of Duke, can TCU upset Duke? This is going to be a very interesting game. TCU is a team you do not want to play with. If you look at TCU's resume so far, TCU has beaten Wisconsin. They've beaten Florida. They've beaten Iowa State. And then they just beat Ohio State. And they really had control of the entire game. Duke, they're going to have to play better than they did against Siena. They cannot play the way they did against Siena and expect to beat this TCU team that is not scared of them. They are not scared of them. Duke, I know they were shorthanded. We'll see if they're shorthanded. I haven't heard any news quite yet as this Saturday morning if some of their players will be available. That could change some things. This game's going to be close. I don't know. I don't really see this being I don't think, Duke blows them out of the water. If they do, I'm totally wrong. I'm watching both teams play on Thursday. TCU had more sense of an urgency. They did let Ohio State go on that big run where they went up by 5, and then TCU took control of the rest of the game. So we'll see if that affects anything. But I think that Duke's going to win this game. I think they're going to move on. But if they come out and play like they did against Siena, Duke's going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. TCU's too good of a team to sleepwalk against. Go ask Iowa State. Go ask Florida. Go ask Wisconsin. Go ask Ohio State. So that's my take on that. Moving on. Battle of Texas preview. Texas A&M, the 10 seed, will play 2-seeded Houston in the round of 32. And Texas A&M, they are a very interesting team. You look at their body of work. This was a team in January that was on top of the SEC. They looked like they were world beaters, and then they just fell off a cliff, as I like to say. Houston, on the other hand, they're trying to get back to the Final Four. I mean, they are. I love watching Houston play. They are physical. They are physical, my gosh. They slap the floor on defense. They bring the intensity. Kevin Sampson he might be my favorite coach in college basketball. I love watching him and his teams play. It doesn't matter who is on the court. The intensity doesn't change. And that's the difference between a great team and a good team. A good team, you have good players. Great teams, you have guys that come off the bench that know their roles and that are not going, and it's not going to affect them. So, looking at this game, Houston and Texas A&M, I like Houston to win this game. I think this is going to be a 10-point game. I think it's going to be decisive. I think that Houston is a team you don't want to mess with, and this is a team that could win the national championship. Yes, I just put Houston in the national championship in the same conversation. They are playing such good ball lately. Staying in Texas, can Texas win their third game in 5 days when they play a Gonzaga team in Oregon? Texas, they have beaten NC State Tuesday. They took care of BYU. I mean, they had control of the game the entire game. BYU did not come to play that game. And then they're going to be playing a Gonzaga team, a Mark Few-led team that, they're not as good as I would say typical Gonzaga teams. Texas, they were, you look at their body of work, I mean, they got beat by Ole Miss at the SEC tournament, and then things changed. And that's how March happens. It happens to everyone. So when we look at this game, you look at the key matchup. Can Ike for Gonzaga get going? I don't think Texas has the best posts. I think they need to attack the inside against Texas. Texas, they need to get their two best players going. There's no doubt. I think they're probably going to have to both score about 20 in order to win this game. I think that's what the threshold is. This Gonzaga team, you need to take the ball down low. You need to take the ball down low. So who am I going to take the win out of Texas and Gonzaga? Give me Texas to win, give me Gonzaga to win this game. I think the inside presence is going to be too much. I think that EK is going to lead to second opportunities for Gonzaga. And I think that Texas is a really good team. It's unfortunate they're 11th seed. I mean, that's just how it goes. Should be a very interesting game, like I said. But I'm going to take Gonzaga to beat Texas. Let's move on. Vandy, Nebraska, game of the weekend. This very easily could be the game of the weekend. Vandy coming off their win against McNeese State. They are the 5 seed in the South region. Nebraska, the 4 seed, beating Troy. This game is in Oklahoma City. Nebraska will have about 16,000 fans. Their fans are awesome. It's awesome to watch the environment they're making for their team. It's going to be a Nebraska home game. Vanderbilt is probably playing their best basketball of the year. This is a team that a lot of people wrote off back in January when they got beat by Arkansas by about 40. And, yeah, I mean, they still got beat by Arkansas in the SEC championship. Vandy's a team that just beat Florida last week. And not just beat them, they demoralized them. Florida did not look like a top 4 team or top 4 seed when they got beat by Vanderbilt. Nebraska, what Nebraska team is going to show up? Well, that's the question. A team that played Thursday where they hit all those threes, had all the energy. Can they bring the juice on Saturday against this Vanderbilt team? That's very interesting. When you look at this, I'm going to take Vanderbilt, the 5 seed, to move on. I think that Vanderbilt. I think that they're going to give struggles to Nebraska inside. I know that's a theme, but in March, you need to have good defense and you need to have physicality and you need to have athleticism and the willpower to win. And I think Vanderbilt has all those boxes. I think that Nebraska shooting can keep them in it, but for example, look what Villanova did to Utah State. They hit 14 threes and got beat by 10. So it's more than just shooting threes. I think Vanderbilt is going to control the paint. I'm going to take Vanderbilt to win this game. I know I have some Nebraska fans that are not going to be happy with what the pick I just made, but Vanderbilt is playing their best ball at the right time. And you can say, oh, Nebraska, yeah, they are too. Well, they just got beat by Purdue last week, and they beat Troy. Let's hold off the brakes. Would it be awesome for Nebraska to go to the Sweet 16? Absolutely. I just don't see it happening. I think that Vanderbilt is a team to watch out for. Should be a great game. We got 2 more games here for you in the Saturday slate, then we're going to get into Sunday. Can VCU make some more magic? Everyone in this tournament has been talking about, oh, there's no Cinderellas. What do you mean there's no Cinderellas? If VCU wins today, they're a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16 and a mid-major. Isn't that the criteria of a Cinderella? I don't know. I can't stand the people on X and Twitter and Instagram. Oh, there's no Cinderellas. What are you watching? Did you not watch High Point and VCU win? I mean, if you're going to, it baffles me. The people that are complaining about this tournament are the same people that don't watch college basketball. VCU is very capable of beating this Illinois team. If VCU wins, they're a Cinderella. According to my criteria, a mid-major that is above a 10 seed and won the conference tournament, which VCU did, if they go to the Sweet 16, that's a Cinderella. I don't know what I'm missing, but let's look at, I digress. Let's look at this VCU squad against an Illinois team that got beaten their first game in the conference tournament, but they did take care of Penn. It wasn't even close. There was no letting them play around, hang around, any of that. Illinois is going to win this game. Yes, I just talked about VCU, and I will be cheering for VCU. I'll be very honest with you. I hope they win. I think that Illinois, they have bigger goals in mind. They're not going to take this game lightly. They want to get back to the Sweet 16. They want to right their wrongs that they had, in previous tournaments. So I think VCU, the noise is going to end here, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that Illinois will beat VCU. Moving on, can High Point keep their run going? I don't understand people that say there's no Cinderellas. High Point is still in the tournament as a 12 seed, and they are the definition of a mid-major that has a chance to go to the Sweet 16 against an Arkansas team. And I will be telling you, I am cheering for High Point. I'm so sick of Calipari. We have to go to Portland, Oregon. Poor thing. I hope you get on the plane and you have to go back and cry. It'd be awesome. But guess what? Arkansas is going to win today. I'm going to pick them to win today. I think that no one on a High Point can guard Akoff. Can High Point generate enough offense to beat Arkansas? That is the question. If you're going to pick High Point to beat Arkansas, it has to be because a High Point has enough offense to do so. I don't think so. I think Arkansas is a dark horse to keep going in this tournament. They have the one. Let's just call it how it is. As of right now, they have the best player in the country. And everyone's not going to agree with me. AJ's not playing anymore. The Boozers look terrible against Siena. Like Akoff, I've been more impressed in Akoff in March than I have with any other player in the country so far. And I'm going to have BYU fans, oh, AJ. Well, AJ's going to be watching this game on the couch, same as I am. So there's not a difference. Give me Arkansas to beat High Point. I think that Arkansas is a better team. I hope that High Point wins. It would be awesome, but we got to talk some sense. And I think that Arkansas is going to win this game. They're just the better team at the end of the day. Moving on. Let's get into Sunday's game. Can Purdue take out Miami? This is in the St. Louis region, the West region. Winner will move on to the Sweet 16. Purdue is a 2 seed. Miami is the 7 seed. Miami looked great against Missouri last night. They basically led wire to wire outside of like 2 minutes. Purdue, they took care of Queens. Purdue, a team that not a lot of people had it on their radar until they won the Big Ten last week. It was awesome for Purdue to do that. Miami they went to the semifinals. This game is going to be good. This is a great 2-7 matchup. We got a great round of 32 game. I think Purdue has too much firepower to get beat by Miami right now. We'll see. Miami, they cannot go 4 or 12 from the foul line. They shot better down the stretch, but at no point in the game can they go 4 for 12. If they do that, Purdue will win by 20. But I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm still taking Purdue to beat Miami, it should be a great game. I just think that Purdue, I think that Smith, he wants to leave a legacy at Purdue. And we could say what you want about Purdue. He has been fun to watch. He's been fun to watch. Moving on. Is Iowa State in trouble without Jefferson? Obviously, Jefferson, he sprained his ACL. He was in a boot and crutches yesterday when they played Tennessee State. And then you got a Kentucky team that's playing with momentum right now. They're kind of playing with house money. They had, as of yesterday morning, they looked like they weren't even going to beat Santa Clara. Kentucky's not going to be taken lightly. Iowa State's missing one of their best players. You couldn't notice when you looked at the score yesterday. But will it matter when they played this, a really good – well, they noticed when they played this really good Iowa State team. So, Iowa State, Kentucky, I think that Mark Pope, he's a great coach. I know some Kentucky people will not agree. This game's going to be close. This could be an upset. I could see Kentucky winning this. I think Iowa State's going to keep winning. I think they're going to keep winning. I think they got enough firepower. They need him. They're going to need Jefferson next week. I'm going to guess he's not going to play tomorrow based off the reports that I have seen, but maybe I'm wrong. It'd be awesome if he'd play tomorrow. But I think Iowa State will win this game against a Kentucky squad that is a really good team. It's a really good team. Can Florida keep the run going? They're going to play an Iowa squad that took care of Clemson yesterday. Iowa likes to slow the game down. Florida, they had an amazing game yesterday against a Prairie View team. But looking at this game, I think that Florida is going to keep going. They're playing in Tampa. It's going to be a home game. I have not been impressed with the Big Ten in this tournament so far outside of like UCLA. I think they've been the only impressive Big Ten team so far. I might be wrong. You could throw in. There's a couple teams you could throw in. But I think that they will beat Iowa. I think this will be a good game. But I think Florida is going to win this game. Give me Florida to keep the dance going to go into the Sweet 16, which means, if you guys have been watching this full episode, that means they play Vanderbilt in the Sweet 16. Because that's who I also predicted. Moving on, Tennessee, Virginia, man. This is a coin flip game for me. Virginia, they survived the madness against a... why is that not going down? Come on. All right, perfect. Virginia coming off that almost upset when they almost got beat by Wright State. Tennessee, they dismantled Miami, Ohio in every sense of form. This game is a true toss-up for me. You look at a Virginia coach in Ryan Odom, first year, and they're in the round of 32. He's really turned the culture around of Virginia. Tennessee, Rick Barnes, they got a great freshman. Gillespie is really good. Does Virginia have enough? I think that Tennessee is going to upset Virginia. I think that Tennessee's a squad to watch out for if they get hot at the right time. I was not impressed by Virginia. I think that Tennessee's going to pull the upset, and they will be a 6 seed in the Sweet 16. I was not impressed with Virginia. I think that they're a great team, but I really love the way Tennessee, man, they kind of, if you watch them against Vanderbilt, the SEC tournament, they did not look good, but they looked great against Miami, Ohio. So that should be a really fun game. Give me Tennessee to move on to the Sweet 16. And now, in terms of watchability, this is going to be a fun game to watch. St. John's versus Kansas could be the best game of the weekend in California. Both teams took care of their both first-round opponents. St. John's has won 19 of 21 so far going into this game. Kansas, they have Darian Peterson, one of the best players in the country, if not the best player at times. This should be a great game. You got Rick Pitino versus Bill Self. This has got a cinema rating of 10 on this game going into this. I think we're going to get a great game. At the end of the day, I love defense, and I think you guys know who I'm going to pick. Give me St. John's to beat Kansas. I think that St. John's, they feel the sting of getting beat in the round of 32 last year by Arkansas, and they are going to beat Kansas. I think that Rick Pitino is going to take St. John's to the Sweet 16, and could they go even further? Great question, because this is a team I do not want to play right now. St. John's is firing on all cylinders right now, and we'll see. I mean, the Big 12 is a great conference. Kansas is a great team. I just don't think it's enough to beat this St. John's team. That is so good. St. John's is one of the best. I don't know how they're a 5 seed. I really don't understand how they're a 5 seed. I don't. St. John's is going to beat Kansas. Should be a great game. Staying in the Big East, UCLA versus UConn preview. And this is the game I talked about on Sunday that this is what I have my eye on. A UCLA team that is peaking at the right time versus a UConn team that has tiptoed in some games. They're not playing their best ball as of lately. Of course, they were missing a couple players. Will they play on Sunday? We do not know yet. UCLA, they have some injuries, but they like Dent, he was questionable, but he ended up playing, so that's great. Man, I really want to pick UCLA here. Give me UCLA to beat UConn. You heard it here. UCLA is playing better than UConn right now. I think that UCLA has the chance to go to the Elite Eight here. I talked about this on Sunday, and yes, I picked UConn on Sunday, but I think that UCLA, after watching both teams play last night and looking at the vibe of the team, I love UCLA. I think that UCLA is going to keep this run going, and they're going to go to the Sweet 16. I really do believe that, and we're going to get a rematch of UCLA, Michigan State in the Sweet 16. Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. Should be a great game. Give me an upset here. UCLA beats UConn. Moving on, Arizona-Utah State preview. Utah State, the underseeded 9 seed that has no business being in the 8-9 games, but they are, and a 9 seed, I might add. Arizona, they took care of Long Island. Unfortunately, the fins up, they go down. Great chant, great story, just the way it goes. Guys, this game is going to be closer than what you think. Utah State plays a defense, a matchup zone that is really hard to play at first. And you guys, you guys can look at the box score. I don't think I've ever seen a Utah State team, better yet, any NCAA team, shoot 2 of 16 from 3. The other team hits 14 threes, and they win by 10 points and score almost 90 points. Like, this Utah State team has athleticism. But if Utah State, they're kind of the same story as St. Louis, they have to be able to shoot the 3. Utah State will not be able to go 2 of 16 from 3 and keep this game remotely close. Utah State needs to hit about 9 or 10 threes. This matchup zone is going to force Arizona to shoot. Arizona is not known for their three-point shooting. Obviously, I'm going to take Arizona to win this game. I think Utah State, they have the best chance of the 9 seeds to beat a 1 seed. I really do believe that. Jared Calhoun made himself a lot of money yesterday when they beat Villanova. Those sets he ran at the end of the game, he outcoached Willard from Villanova. He had Willard going on to a interview, or media timeout interview, saying he's going to fire his staff because they can't guard an out-of-bounds play. I will see. I think that Utah State, they are well coached. They will not be scared of Arizona because that coach is not scared of anything. And then the last game of the day we're talking about, Texas A&M and Bama. 4-seed Bama takes care of Hofstra. Texas Tech took care of Akron. This game is going to be awesome. Alabama, obviously their second-best player. He's too busy selling illegal substance to even care about his team, so he doesn't even care about him. And then we got a Texas Tech team that doesn't have Toppin, who tore his ACL. I think that the coaching matchup, I think Texas Tech has a 10 times better coach than Nate Oates. Give me Texas Tech to beat Alabama. I think that Texas Tech is firing on all cylinders right now. And yes, they beat Akron. A lot of people picked Akron. It doesn't matter. Texas Tech, I think the Big 12 is a better conference. I think it's going to show against this Alabama squad. Alabama, obviously, they're going to have to score 90-plus to win this game. I think Texas Tech's defense is too good to allow that to happen. And maybe I'm eating my words when we do a podcast on Monday. Give me Texas Tech to beat Alabama. So we have a 30-minute episode for you guys. That's our full episode, guys. And it's been an awesome journey. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys subscribe. It goes a long way for the channel. Thanks for everyone that watched this live. This is also going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, X, you name it. We are everywhere, guys. And we're going to have a great couch session for the next 2 days. I'm not sure I'll get off the couch for the next 2 days. I already went to the gym. I already got a workout in for the day. So I think I'm good for the rest of the day. So with that being said, appreciate everyone that's been watching this live. And we will see you guys Monday. And we will be doing round of 32 breakdown of the whole round of 32. So with that being said, have a great Saturday, Sunday. And we'll see you back here on Monday.